Hello and welcome to the Book Bunch. My name is Sam. It is so great to have you guys here for another video. I am back from my 2 separate holidays, which is very abnormal for me to have so many holidays in a year, let alone within a week or two of each other. And I'm mostly over the COVID. I still have a bit of a cough that comes and goes, but apart from that, I am back to my normal self. I have had to jump head first into another term of uni, so that's been a lot of fun. And as a result, over the last few weeks, I haven't read heaps, but I've managed to read 4 books to you. 3 of them are sci-fis, and then 1 of them is a fantasy. So I'm going to bring those to you now and hope that you enjoy this video. So there are 2 physical books I read and then 2 ebooks. So we will talk about the physical books first, and that is Tainted and Awakened, which is a duology called The Soul Chronicles from Morgan L. Bussey. This is one of the first, well, it's actually the second series she ever wrote, so some of the first books she ever had written. I have previously read some of her books. I've read her Mark of the Raven series, and that was amazing. And yes, I have one of her other series or 2 of her other series as ebooks, which I need to get to, but I am yet to do so. But I really like Morgan L. Bussey. I think she's really awesome as a writer. She is a Christian writer, but some of her books have like a decently strong Christian theme, and others, they're more just clean than anything. And I'd say this definitely has faith elements in this one, because some of the main characters, they do pray in this, and they are kind of struggling with their faith a little bit. So I would say that this one does have some faith content, but it's definitely not the focus of the story by any means. And there's no like allegory or anything in it. But yes, that being said, I really enjoyed book 1. I think I can't remember what I gave it on Goodreads, but I gave it a relatively high rating. And then book 2, it did fall a little bit flat to me, and so it was more just an average read. But that being said, I still think the series overall is worth your time. But yes, so this story is set in a steampunk world, which I believe is her second series to be in a steampunk world, because I'm pretty sure she has one other series that is steampunk as well. But this series, we follow this one girl who's the girl on the front. Her name is Kat, or Catherine, and she is the daughter of a really prominent scientist, like the be-all and end-all of science in this world that she lives in this city that she's from. And she's got a very estranged relationship from her father, because he is all about the science, doesn't really care about his kid. And I think part of that comes from the fact that his wife died in childbirth, and so maybe he holds that against her a little bit. And so yes, they don't really have a relationship at all. And she has spent her life trying to get his attention and trying to get his love, but really she's just been raised by her nanny. And yeah, she's like come to the point where she's about to go off to college or university, and she has made it into this tower, which is like the science place in the world, in this main city that she's from. And her dad is like one of the head people. And yeah, she gets in, which is really controversial, because her year is the first year to have women scientists able to join this tower, because she lives in a society where women can definitely have jobs, but they're not seen as academic or capable of academia. And yeah, so she's kind of proving all of that wrong. So there's that going on. But the main part of the story is that she considers herself tainted, hence the name of the book, because she has very unnatural powers and she doesn't really know how she's got them. She really wants to get rid of them and she's searching for a cure. And she has to try and do all this in secret because her father doesn't know, because she's afraid that if he finds out, he will experiment on her, and just a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And then the second character that you follow, I cannot remember his name, Stephen. He starts off as a like up and coming police officer, and he's like the youngest police officer ever to reach the rank he's made it to, and he's about to be promoted to like some head kind of a job, and he's about to get married to this like famous socialite woman, but he ends up walking in on her being unfaithful, and it throws him for a loop. He just cannot believe it. He like refuses to trust anyone, and he's got like a very bad idea of what a woman is, and like he doesn't trust women, and it's wrecked his relationship with God because he kind of is a bit angry with God about it. And yeah, he ends up leaving the police force and becoming a bounty hunter, just because of the emotional turmoil to do with it all. And he thinks that the police are like covering stuff up, and he doesn't want to go to work there because the man that his ex-fiance was having an affair with was actually his partner, and like all of this crazy and horrible stuff. And so yes, he becomes a bounty hunter, and these two cross paths, and he ends up having to choose whether or not to help her on her mission. And it is a very interesting story. There is romance in it. I didn't like the romance in this. That might be controversial. It's more so I just didn't like how it was done. It felt very, very rushed. But that, I know in her later novels she gets much better at writing the romance. So it's probably just because this is one of her earlier series. But it wasn't annoying enough for me to dislike the series, just it wasn't for me. But yes, that is kind of the series. I do recommend it if you like steampunk. It is kind of a very cool concept for a story. Sorry, that's probably going to get super annoying for you guys, me clearing my throat all the time. But yes, it's definitely worth the read and the time. I really struggled to get a copy here in Australia of these, so it probably is better to go the ebook version if you're not in America. But yes, that is the Soul Chronicles. And then I have two ebooks. The first one I'm going to talk about is All Systems Red, which is another sci-fi for you guys today. And it is about, it is a novella. It's only 150 pages, but it's part of like a relatively substantial series. So I think they're all kind of short in length, but they're all to do with this one character. And we follow this one person called, well, she calls herself Murderbot, but her name is actually like Seknab or something. And she is well, she's not quite a human and she's not quite a full robot. She's like a blend of the two, bit of a cyborg type of thing going on. But she is a security bot. So she's got like augmentations in her arms of like guns and stuff, and she is normally like contracted out by the corporation that owns her to run security for various interplanetary missions. And she ends up on this team with this team who are on a planet, and they are scientists, and they are trying to like map out this new planet and report all this data and everything like that. They are like a separate corporation, but they like have to hire stuff from this main corporation that the Murderbot works for. And yeah, we follow Murderbot's perspective, so it's very reminiscent of like Recorder and that series. If you've read that, I do recommend this as an alternative because it's pretty good. It's not as good, but it's definitely up there. I gave this first book 4 out of 5. Because my only issue with it was the social structure is super weird. Very much so not Christian. I don't know if this series is meant to be Christian or not. I saw it recommended by a Christian author, but as far as I know, it's not a Christian series. But I would still consider it clean. Just maybe be aware if you're going to read the rest of the series. I don't know if it breaches any lines and what your sensitivities are. So just be aware of that, because there's like, it's a weird social structure where people can marry as many people as they want, and like everybody just basically marries everybody. But this robot that we follow, she doesn't even have like the right parts. Like she's female, but she like they've augmented her so she doesn't have any physical characteristics of that, apart from like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It explains it better in the book. But yeah, we follow this robot chick who it's basically her retelling this mission that she went on, and like what happened to her and what happened to this crew, and things get out of hand very quickly, and people are in a lot of danger very quickly. And that's kind of all I can tell you, because it's only 150 pages. So if I start giving you more detail than that, it will spoil stuff for you. But yeah, if you like things from the perspective of someone with a robot voice, because I really like that, that's a trope I really like, you will like this. Additionally, if you just like generic sci-fi, space type exploration sci-fi, this is also for you. It's very actiony, very interplanetary. It was very good. So that is All Systems Red. And then the last book I have to share with you guys today is Saber's Pride. Pretty sure that's what it's called. And it is book 2 of so far just a duology. They can both be read as standalones though. But this is about a guy named Devore, and he is a chief's son, but he comes from a tribe of saber cat owners, people, I don't know, where the chief has kind of like turned away from the spiritual ideals, and as a result he never got married, and he just like took a bunch of women essentially as concubines and like made them have kids for him, and then discarded the women, and were raising up these kids to be very cutthroat and follow in his abusive footsteps. And this one of the brothers, he hasn't wanted to go along with what the father has wanted. He wants the tribe to go in a different direction and go back to their morals, basically. And so he's basically been trying to survive this situation long enough so that he can then make a difference. And he kind of finally gets that opportunity but he is hesitant to make the necessary decisions he needs to. And then once he kind of finally makes a decision, things only get worse. So yes, it's very interesting. There's a lot of like sibling rivalry, but also some sibling bond, like merging and bonding. Um, there is trigger warning of abuse and like rape and some unsavory things, but like there's nothing graphic. It's just kind of talked about, but there's no scenes where it's like a graphic depiction of what happens or anything. But it is talked about, so if that is an issue for you, just be aware. But it was really good, a really good redemption story, a really good story about found family, and yeah, like breaking generational, what are they called, like patterns and stuff, breaking off from abuse and that kind of thing, and trying to heal and find a better way. So it was really, really good. I really liked it. I really like this duology. I love how this writer, she is a Christian, and there is a little bit of Christian stuff in this book, but it's not like it's more subtle. Whereas in the first book, I don't think there was really any faith stuff, but this second book there was a little bit more of a faith theme, but again, very on the back burner. If you weren't a Christian, you wouldn't necessarily know that that's what was in it. But it was really good, and I really liked it. And I love how she writes from the perspective of males. I don't know if it is a accurate depiction because I'm not a man, but it's probably the best through a male perspective I have read, apart from maybe like Brandon Sanderson kind of level of into voice talking, whatever that's called, like conscience, like, because yeah, it was really good. The writing was really, really amazing. I'm definitely going to get more of her books because I love her stuff, and I do recommend her to you guys as well. But that was everything that I've read recently. I have started reading Oathbringer, and I'm like 400 pages in. So I will maybe keep reading that over the next little while. But I kind of read like 200 pages and then put it down for a while, and now got back into it. I don't know if I will finish it anytime soon to do a proper review for you, but I'm kind of a little put off because this one, so book 3 of Stormlight, I would consider unclean. It's right on the borderline though of what I will tolerate, so I will keep reading it, but just beware that there is some like unbiblical sexual content in there. That's how I will phrase it. But yes, just so you are aware, if that's something that bothers you, I know for a lot of Christians it does not, but it just depends on where your sensitivities are with that kind of stuff. And some people can tolerate a little bit of it, but like not a lot, and all of that kind of thing. So I'll just let you know it's the same level so far as what was in book 3 of Mistborn Era 2. If you have read that, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yes, that's just a little side note in case you were also reading Stormlight along with me. So yes, that is everything for today. I will see you guys in our next video. The next video, I'm planning on doing a recommendation for small children, like for parents of small children, for like toddler age, reading books that I have got for you guys. And then after that, I will be back on the fantasy sci-fi train. So yes, I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you then. Bye.